Hello folks, in today's video we are covering how best to manage your stash, taking a look into all the items you will need for various reasons, such as quests, workbench upgrades, and the expedition project, whilst also covering some lesser known information regarding how to keep stash size down and how best to manage your items overall. As always, this guide is absolutely rammed with information and we're not wasting any time, so let's get started. Now, first things first, your main priority should be to maximize the size of your stash as soon as possible, with its full list of upgrades and costs being on screen right now. There are multiple reasons as to why you want to prioritize this. The first being, the larger your stash size, the less you have to pick and choose between what to keep and what to throw away. And the second being that money actually serves no purpose outside of either upgrading your stash, progressing certain stages of the expedition project, or being used at the traders. Thus meaning, once your stash is complete, all of your money is almost free to be spent exclusively on equipment, supplies, and materials. Now, in regards to what items you will actually want to prioritize, this will naturally differ per player, but there are a few lists of items that all players will need for progression, and then beyond that, it really does come down to your own specific wants and needs. Fortunately enough, there have been a handful of different resources popping up over the past week or so, and for this section, we have the following graphic, which I'll have linked below. Starting with the list of items we will all require for the workbench upgrades, as naturally all of us will want level 3 workbenches eventually. Once these are all level 3, we don't need to invest any more resources into upgrades in this area, and thus we will have one less thing to worry about. But as far as these upgrades go, the level 2 workbenches all require individual arc pieces, ranging between pops, fireballs, ticks, wasps, hornets, and snitches. And then the level 3 upgrades follow this exact same pattern, but require rocketeers, bastions, bombardiers, surveyors, sentinels, and leapers. So, as a general rule of thumb, all workbenches require some form of PvE, or specifically looting arc containers, like probes and couriers, or hornets, rocketeer, or baron husks. Although I can only confirm hornet and rocketeer drivers can be found inside of husks. And as for any of the other arc pieces, I'm not entirely sure. Next, we have the full list of items required for the expedition project, which are currently on screen right now. This is the same as the workbenches in the sense that once you've completed the expedition project, you don't need to worry about it anymore, at least until the next rotation. A lot of these items can be made, and outside of the 3 Leaper Pulse units, none of them require you to actually push combat. And generally, all of them are pretty easy to come by with time. This list of items will likely change for the second expedition project rotation and beyond, but we will just have to wait and see. Next, we have items needed for quests, so if you stockpile these early, you'll save having to hunt them down as and when you receive the appropriate quests. It should be added that the quest requiring you to retrieve a surveyor vault also requires you to destroy a surveyor, so as convenient as stockpiling some of these items may be, there will still be other requirements outside of your control. So just something for you all to bear in mind, and it would also appear that not all items needed for quests are actually featured on this list. And then for the final list, we have possibly the greatest of them all safe to recycle items that currently serve no additional purpose other than being miscellaneous. Currently, you can do what you want with these items, but it may be that in the future, they affect crafting recipes, quests, or even the expedition project, so that is also very much worth bearing in mind too. And outside of this, certain items, such as these 5 arc items here, all break down into almost a full stack of one of the most 5 basic resources when recycled. Rusted shut medical kits reward syringes and antiseptic, whereas motors reward oil and mechanical components. So whilst I obviously won't be covering them all here, some items can be considered a quick way of stockpiling others, but it will all come down to familiarity and knowledge. Now, with all of these major milestones covered, I do very much have my own list too, which isn't anything special, but it is full of items you'll likely want to be keeping a hold of. Wires, springs, and duct tape are used for a range of different attachments, as well as some gun recipes too. So as a general rule, stack these when you can, and make sure you have a stockpile at all times. This also goes for batteries and magnets, as batteries are used for both crafting medium shields and various other items, whilst magnets are used for Mark II augments, as well as a range of different guns and item recipes. Later items include oil, canisters, and voltage converters, with the converters being needed for heavy shields, whilst oil and canisters are for certain weapon recipes. And then finally, I know things such as durable cloth, antiseptic, arc power cells, advanced arc power cells, and syringes, etc. are all used for a range of different medical items. There may be 1 or 2 items I'm missing due to not having all blueprints right now, but what is listed will be important for most players. Certain items like normal or advanced electrical and mechanical components, mod components, and even arc circuitry can eventually be crafted using the refiner, but it does also help to collect these items as and when you can, as you will need all of these for a range of different crafting purposes. Beyond everything outlined in this guide already, additional items would include anything specific to your own goals and upgrades. I really like the Venator, and its blueprint requires 5 magnets per craft, so I'll now be making the conscious effort to stockpile more magnets than I would otherwise. And this is a very basic example of how your own progression will dictate your own wants and needs. Now, with all of that covered, when you now sit down to trim your stash, use this graphic as a guide to what items you can and can't get rid of, and after doing that a few times, you will then begin to memorize certain things, until eventually you will need the graphic less and less. This all comes down to familiarity, but by using the graphic, you can bypass recycling the wrong thing, and you can also speed up the memorizing process. As a very last minute side note, folks, I do have a Discord server that I've recently began to try and breathe new life into. I originally made this back in March when I was going to start streaming. However, I have since knocked that idea on the head due to time limitations, and thus the Discord server was placed on the back burner. However, I am relaunching it now as simply just a hangout spot, not just for Arc Raiders, but gaming in general. So do very much feel free to join, and there's a link in the description below. Anyway, that is just about it for this guide, folks. I'll be back soon with plenty more, and I do of course have a range of guide and news videos on the channel already, so do feel free to stop on by and check things out. Otherwise, thanks for watching, folks, and until next time, peace.